Hello, everybody! For the last time for Blood and Silver, at least. Last session, we wrapped up the story. Well, not really. We wrapped up the adventure, the quest, and they succeeded. They took down the bad guys, and the good guys won, all as it should be, but there's still a little bit of story left to tell, some loose ends to wrap up, and we gotta find out what happened to our heroes after all of that happened. So we're doing this fun epilogue session that is going to have absolutely no tears or negativity at all. It will be fairly scripted, so we're going to be chugging along, so we won't be taking up too much of your time. But let's definitely get this on the road so that we can finish telling the story. The Battle of the Bloody Dawn. A title for yesterday's violence that is as grim as the gray weight of fear and loss that rests on the shoulders of every soul within the city of Griffin. Locals, Altons, Zoridi, Karothi. The dead number in the thousands, and many more injured. Last episode, our last official episode, the heroes, having finally earned the title in truth, ended the rebellion fighting on the side of the Order of the Dawn, liberating the city and defeating the avatar of the Titan, Dea Thugai, halting a dark ritual, utilizing a mysterious artifact, the construct Roderick, overtaken by a strange divinity, sealed the beast away, vanishing in the process. The barkeep turned soldier Apollinaire, having deepened and escalated his pact with the all-consuming fiend Guromandas, to grant himself the power to shield his friend and ally, the Fey Gaia, from her magically powerful tormentor, now counts the hours until the deal is done and the fiend can feast on his soul. Seraphina wrestles with her future and identity, conflicted between her adoptive Sylvan home and the new connections she has made in the human lands, struggling to balance her obligations with her own desires. Gaia seeks a future with her new family, having been without one for so long, but the looming cloud of her jilted master Ea the Ancient stands between her and that future, and her mission to one day return home to her mountain in the north. But the day is not yet done. Maybe coughing all day today, apparently. How unfortunate. Let us start by taking a step backwards. Roderick. You have witnessed others of your kind for the first time, including your own body, as you watched on, seemingly a phantasm, having sealed your opponent in an arcane prison. You found yourself with Kiel and a stranger, introduced to you as Gulfurion, who led you away to create for yourself a new body. A strange task to engage in, but the way he has spoken to you has made it seem as natural and achievable as any of the many crafts you have performed over your few years. You were led to a beautiful realm of marble columns and villas and gardens. You were led to an enormous, decadent forge, lavish white stone and gold decor, the choicest possible tools, and tables laden with rosewater and fruit. And you passed it by. At the end of the estate, not far from the water on this island paradise, you are brought to a small, homely forge. Upon further inspection, you realize it is eerily similar to the Iron Bird, your master's forge in the lower levels of Griffin. It has a pedestrian and yet comfortable and familiar feel. And here it is where you and Gulfurion began what will ultimately be your most challenging and most personal feat of artifice yet. For hours that stretch into days, days that stretched into weeks, and yet further into months you toiled. But today, your task is complete. Today you will not lift the hammer or the tongs, and you will heat no steel in the forge. Today, you and Gulfurion will look on your masterpiece, and for you at least, it will be the last time you see it from this perspective. The older man leads you through the halls from the elegant quarters you have occupied during your time here. You still do not sleep, but you have found a peace here. Wow, I've lost my place. You have tried your hand at techniques and crafts that you had never before witnessed, and you have shared tales with this man, laughed at his jokes even as he laughs at yours, but now you stand before a cloth-covered figure, and you feel the smallest bit of apprehension, a sensation you do not experience often. He turns to you and says, "Why do you hesitate, Roderick? Do you not wish to see your creation with freshly rested eyes?"
people to be able to see me the same.
I think your friends will see you for who you are, not for your external appearance. That is mutable, even for those of a more traditional birth.
Well, I mean, most people don't really get the choice. Like I gotta do.
Enjoy the privilege. You've worked hard on it.
Everything down to the last degree.
And it has been a joy working with you on it. Thank you for that privilege.
Thank you for giving it to me, guys.
Go on then. He gestures towards the cloth.
Yeah, I'd sink into it, I guess.
All right, cool. You'll be getting your opportunity to describe that new form here shortly.
All right.
But for the moment, we're going to hop back over to Griffin. The birds are singing despite the grim atmosphere of the city, and the sun shines bright in the clear blue sky, almost as if mocking the suffering that it illuminates. Seraphina and Gaia stand opposite the empty courtyard of the high-class inn that they have been given board in, and opposite them stands Apollinaire, or perhaps more accurately, Guramandas, who grins mockingly at them. The final hours since Apollinaire made his last pact with the gluttonous devil dwindle. The barkeep, seizing the fiend's power to wield against the Knights of the Circle, to liberate the city and protect the youth of Griffin, and his newfound friends, the Field Foxes. What, if anything, are you saying to one another as the clock ticks these last minutes away?
Shifting away from the almost mocking grin, Apollinaire will approach Seraphina and Gaia and will take a knee in front of Gaia. Gaia, I know that you're unhappy with me.
She gives you a hug.
Hugs her back. And I know that it is not my place to tell you what to do after this. But I would like to ask a favor of you. There is a box back in the Seven Gestures, and I want you to take it. What you do with the contents is up to you. They I think the best memories I had of my life with my Nicolette and our tavern and the like. They made things difficult, but I would like you to take them with you. She didn't get to see much beyond Griffin, and he's not quite the same, but take those memories of her with you wherever you go, if you don't mind. Maybe even look on them yourself.
I will.
Thank you.
Oh, no.
Is it? Yes,
Thank you.
of course.
I never got to meet my grandparents, but if they were like you, I imagine they were like you, and I consider you to be mine. I know we haven't known each other very long, but you've changed my life, and I will always keep them with me. I will
Thank
keep
you.
you with me.
It's just like I will never even have been gone.
I'm sorry.
There's nothing to be sorry for. Okay.
Apollinaire, you can feel your control slipping. Over the last day, Gurumandas has had more and more prominence or priority in this form, and seizing these moments is getting more and more difficult as these last couple of hours draw to a close.
Isn't that precious? So desperate to be a father, even till the very end. I'm sorry. Did I say precious? I meant pathetic.
Gaia will,
Stands up.
either while he's standing up or while he's still crouched, will put her hands firmly on both sides of his face. I will find you. And if it takes eternity, I will kill you. And she will lean back, headbutt him.
Just kind of takes it. Finishes standing.
What's your strength score, Gaia?
Not good. It's either a 10 or an 8.
You take 1 point of damage.
Yeah. It
Since you're
just
not
bloodies the
trying to
nose,
dodge it.
just kind of wipes off and just kind of licks it off the fingers.
Oh, it's actually a 13. Guy's a little stronger
2
than
points of damage.
I thought. Yeah.
2 points.
I can't wait till you do, because you see, I know how it's gonna go. You're gonna look for me. You're gonna chase tales of men and women engulfed in hellfire, slinging it about in desperation. Whenever time you'll arrive, I see a burnt corpse or someone who's just given out, and you'll get desperate, and eventually you'll know the only way to get anywhere near me is to make a deal. And when you take that chance, I will eat you.
You're interrupted by a voice from the doorway. I would offer you a good morning, Gurumandas, but I would not be earnest, so I shall do no such thing. Seraphina, Gaia, good morning. I have brought you a visitor. When y'all turn to look at the door, you see Kiel standing there, sharply dressed, and with one arm reached around the corner as he strides in, tapping the ground sharply with a expensive-looking cane. He leads someone into the room with you. Roderick, why don't you describe your new form as Kiel has brought you back from Gulfurion's island?
So, most of that time spent in the extra-dimensional space, wherever Roderick was at, was not trying to perfect the fine details of getting something new right. It was trying to make a replica exacting of how he was, with just a few changes. He has just made Roderick down to every scratch, every wound, dent, and ding that he had in combat, every memory beaten into his body. except for his head, which appears to be almost a somewhat metalish skull, still with horns, maybe slightly longer, and weird hair that appears to be made of fire.
Hell yeah.
Otherwise, he's exactly the same. Like he never left. And he comes in and goes,
Oh, not too late. He's, nobody's still here.
Hopefully. I hold up a finger to Roderick, and I turn back around and I grab Apollinaire by like the scruff of his shirt and smack him and go, I want to talk to Apollinaire!
Gurumandas, at this juncture, Apollinaire cannot wrest control from you. You would have to give it freely.
Man.
Is it really so much to ask for you to do as she says? Kiel says to you, and I want you to realize that you know full well he wields a power that could destroy your very essence in an instant. But you also know he is not permitted to attack you as you are. He may not dabble in the affairs of mortals, and since you have not violated the eldest treaty, no one of the ancients may harm you. You have not robbed a mortal of their free will, nor directly acted to harm one. Your pact with Apollinaire was made with his consent, and the power you bestowed was wielded by a mortal hand. While he is far more powerful than you, you only have to contend with the mortals in the room.
He just kind of turns and looks at Kiel and just kind of. This must make you itch. Very well. Yes, Zelvina.
You stubborn old man. I just give him a hug.
Oh, you're welcome back.
yeah, Roderick will go over and give him a little bit of a squeeze. Still just as uncomfortable as it was before. All of Roderick's imperfections, he wanted to keep them. They made them who he was. So he simply goes,
All right, Apollinaire. So, now, if I understand correctly, you don't got too much time, so I'm gonna need you to do me a favor. I need you to make a deal with me to give me your soul.
You know it is no longer mine to give.
So you're saying you can't give someone your soul if someone else already belongs to someone else, then, right?
Roderick.
What's up?
Kiel.
It's mine.
Kiel leans over and whispers something in your ear. I'm going to send you that via Facebook message.
Sure.
There is there is no perception check that will allow you to hear what Kiel says to Roderick.
I have observant. I can read lips.
Roderick does have a jaw now. It is basically the articulation of a skull jaw. It's single hand. But you know, sounds as if he had lips do come out, and you just kind of hear him lean back and just go,
What you mean?
Kiel looks over at Gurumandas and says, Gurumandas, I grow weary of you. It is time that you departed with empty hands and an empty stomach.
No!
You realize, as you say that there is no more bird song. In fact, there are no sounds of the city in its acts of mourning and rebuilding as there have been all morning while y'all sat in this awkward silence. And you realize that when you look again, that Seraphina and Gaia and Roderick are no longer present. Kiel looks on you with what you recognize as hatred, or maybe simply despisal, as one would a particularly foul insect. But he does not speak, and your attention is drawn to movement at the door. A flash of white. And a young woman strides through the door in a pale dress, her radiance only slightly marred by her unsmiling face, and the sheathed sword that dangles from a slender silver chain-link belt. She takes her place alongside Kiel, and he places a hand on her shoulder. You're not the only one that can make pacts with mortals, fiend. She takes a step towards you, Kiel's hand dropping to his side as she moves away from him. Gurumandas, you are one of the 13 Dukes of Hell. You have seen pain. You have seen fear. You have dined on every hateful emotion. You have slaked your thirst on the deepest rages and have witnessed violence for every cause. For greed, for revenge, for pride, and for love. And you have consumed it all with relish. But as you look into the eyes of this woman, you see a fury, deeper and more true than any you have ever witnessed in a human. Even the elves with their hundreds or sometimes thousands of years have not accumulated a hostility, no, a loathing so pure as this. Through her eyes, in her soul, you witness a tempest. And deeper even than that, a grim determination, a resolution stronger than any you have experienced for yourself. For the first time that you can remember, you forget your hunger. And for the first time, as you meet eyes with Nicolette Bellarose, you feel true, cold fear. Gurumandas, I need you to roll initiative.
Oh shit.
Hell yeah.
Jeez, I didn't even have my fucking dice out. I can't use my regular. I have to use demon dice, right?
Yeah.
It's legally required.
It's legally required.
If you do not use them, I will get in contact with my lawyer.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Yeah. 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 Okay. Where's the D20? There's my D20. Yeah. 16.
16. She will go first.
Oh shit.
As you look around, you are no longer in the courtyard. You are surrounded by flame, and it takes you a moment to realize that you are in the midst of the inferno that claimed Apollinaire's tavern, the tolling rose. The crack of burning timbers and cracking stone, the savage hellfire that levels the structure, causing the very air to swim with heat. As she draws her silver blade, it does not rasp, it sings. She says, "Your wretched ilk have the grace to feast upon the most depraved of humanity. You have the gall to feed upon good men and women, and for that I will vanquish you." She will take her 2 attacks at you as she lunges forward.
Alright.
Her first attack misses, but the second lands. You will take 4 points of magical slashing and silver damage. And you will take 32 points of true damage that cannot be reduced in any way.
Said 4, so 36 damage total?
Yes.
Okay. Has any kind of HP recovery happened since our final battle?
Yes, this is the following day. Y'all have had a long rest.
Oh. Okay. That's very different. Okay. Okay. And then that's minus 38. Okay.
That is it for her turn. It is your turn.
Just like reeling, cause that fucking big ass fucking smack. Holy shit. Oh man. Oh gosh. Oh jeez. I feast on those who don't know. And Shillelagh into Green Flame.
Make your attack rolls.
Oh Jesus. That's a natural 20.
Roll it up.
Do I only have the 1d8? I do. Oh no, I do have 2d8. So that's 3, 4 plus max 30 damage.
Nice. I did not get a note card out. There we go.
Just big old smack. And to be consumed is but what they deserve.
She reels with the blow, and while your blade, or your stick, smacks into her squarely across the face, you don't see any blood, nor does her dress seem to tarnish. She will use a legendary action to take 2 more attacks against you at the end of your turn.
Okay.
Again, a hit and a miss.
Okay.
You take 8 points of magical slashing damage,
Right.
and 27 points of true damage.
8 and 27. What's that? 35. Which I don't have resistance to non-magical or silvered weapons, right?
Nope, you are. You cannot use any of your resistances against silver.
Right. All right. Shit, once again, just blood gushing out of him. This is a vessel. All you're doing is killing your husband. Once again, Green Flame Blade.
Oh, it's not your turn yet.
Oh,
That
it's
was
not.
a
Oh, that's right. That was her legendary action.
She is
Words
going to-
anyway.
At the top of initiative order, there will be a layer action. The inn, the tavern that you were in, the Tolling Rose, kind of spirals and explodes outward, and you realize that y'all are in some kind of limbo. The bright blue sky and the burning platforms and timbers creating a patchwork in the air, and as an enormous set of feathery white wings unfurl, these massive blows that have been striking you, you know this is the true power of Kiel of Drosi, Knight of the First Order, Champion of the Pegasus, and she is wielding all of it. She will now take her turn. With an outstretched hand, several beams of white light will dart at you.
Several. Yeah, just.
3 of the beams will hit you.
Doesn't matter. 2 HP.
Gotcha.
I only had 75 hit points at the start.
Well, you just took 71 more
that'll
points
do
of
it.
damage as you are pierced by this white light. She flies towards you, and as her silver blade sinks into your chest, she says, "You will never consume anyone ever again."
You said those 3 beams, right?
Oh no, she fired 7. 5 hit.
7? So straight up dead. Not even just unconscious. Dead.
And everything for you, Guru Mandas, fades to black. Mission Control, if we could get something a little bit calmer for a moment. Apollinaire, you wake up. Looking around, you're in a field. And in the distance, you can see a farmhouse. And yet further out, the silhouette of trees swaying gently. A warm, pleasant breeze, scented with flowers and pine, ruffles your clothing, and looking down, your arm is unburnt, without even the lines and spots of age. Perhaps most amazingly, standing next to you is your wife, smiling at you with unrestrained joy. Darling, I have missed you more than you can possibly imagine.
Kiss her. Just both sides of the face.
She's kissing you back, both of you overcome with passion and almost desperation. I am so proud of you. She embraces you, filling you with the contentment that you never thought you would experience again. You're distracted from this moment of bliss by movement. You see a child running before you realize that there are several. Not just several, but many, around the house and in the field. Most of them you don't recognize, but one stands out to you in particular. A child you helped bury the day after the black sunset, the son of a cousin's friend. And you come to realize then that these must be the children lost to the violence in Griffin. And as you walk towards the house, your house, you cannot help but to laugh. And your wife laughs along with you. For those of you back in Griffin, only a moment has passed, and in mid-conversation with Kiel, Apollinaire sinks to his knees before collapsing sideways. What do you do?
At his side.
Yeah, pick him up. See what's up.
When you go to check on him, he is dead, but he has a smile on his face.
Stubborn old man.
I'm a fucking spin on my guy. Like,
What? You said everything's gonna be alright?
His soul is intact. And I think this is probably a result he would have wanted.
Gaia falls to the ground, just hugs his leg.
Gormandas did not win. Of that you can be sure.
Thank you. I've not thought of the gods in a long time. But I hope that there are some like you. If you're one of them, just thank you.
Even I do not know the nature of the gods. But Apollinaire was not saved by the gods or by me. I would take very special care of that box he gifted you, Gaia.
That was never in doubt.
He just nods and reaches down and ruffles your hair a little bit. I didn't think it was.
Can you tell us where his wife is buried so that we can do him that honor for us?
Of course. I would expect nothing less.
Roderick, I can't carry him.
I know where it's at. They showed me why not. It's to them.
We have nothing else to do. Let's go do it now. Let's do it now.
And so it will be that Apollinaire will be buried next to his wife, who is also in spirit. But before the day is up, and before you had completed the burial, as y'all waited at your fancy inn, y'all did receive another visitor around dinner time. Y'all are sitting in this large, open, polished kind of dining room. Probably maybe even making plans for the burial, the funeral the next day. Under the circumstances, you know it will be a well-attended funeral. As y'all are having your dinner, or did you want to say something, Roger?
Just later that night, I had something I wanted to do.
Gotcha. So as y'all are having your dinner, the door opens to the inn, and Galag enters. And he is dressed in a formal Sylvan attire. This is the first time you've seen him in anything but his rugged scout's uniform. And accompanying him is another elf, more refined in appearance than Galag's ruddier features, and he is dressed in the garb of royal staff, only of which I think Seraphina would recognize. He walks in. "Good afternoon, Field Foxes. Good afternoon, Lord Kiel." He bows slightly when he addresses the latter, but not much. "I'd like to introduce you to Eogan Lelornan. He is a personal emissary, and not just of the Sylvan Kingdom, but for the Elfin King himself." Eogan nods at the group. "I understand that such a visit is unprecedented, but the circumstances are equally so. I hope that you do not take the lack of formal proceeding as a slight."
I don't know what a proceeding is.
That gets you probably like a sideways glance, but not a whole lot more. Do you mind if we take a seat?
Please. Like I scooch over on the bench.
The Elfin King has sent me with some news resulting from the court's deliberations and his own personal decision-making. First, I am telling you this informally, but my purpose here primarily will be to organize an economic treatise with the city of Griffin and the Sylvan Kingdom, the first of which between elves and mortals in a very long time. But more specifically to you, Seraphina, the Elfin King has personally authorized your adoption in the eyes of the Sylvan courts of Maxwell. This will permit him entry to the Sylvanwood as one of us. I am also authorized to perform the adoption process as official in the eyes of the Sylvan King. I hope that you find this to be good news.
It is the news that I've been waiting for several months.
It is my understanding that young Maxwell is not present in the city at this time, but I will be here for some weeks for the political process. We can perform the adoption at your leisure.
Right. I will find you when I have brought him back. And I think you may want to change those papers.
Yep.
His name is Maximilian.
I realized that
that's
like
okay.
as I said that. We went by Max for so long. But yes.
Gaia will look at it.
My apologies.
The
I am not accustomed to human names.
emissary and say, "He will not be treated like Serafina has been treated, and Serafina will not be treated like she was treated before."
I don't think anything will be the same for Serafina. In a good way. Even if nothing is said officially, others will take note that a boon was offered to you by the Elfin King himself. That, in and of itself, will have ramifications, the specifics of which I cannot predict, but I think that that is a leverage that you will appreciate.
Oh, I was just going to kick people's asses if they start speaking badly to her or Max.
She is lucky to have such an active and involved friend as yourself.
Don't underestimate her.
I have no intention of doing so.
Oh, I do have a question.
Yes.
So I kind of need a place to hide.
Oh.
I'm being chased by somebody who held me in slavery. And I hear that there's other people like me in your kingdom.
If you mean a changeling, very many.
Can I hide in the Sylvan Wood?
Eogan looks over at you, Serafina. He says, "A household of 2 could be lonely."
I don't think that I'm going to be lonely for very long.
That is excellent news. And as the dinner wraps up, you guys get to enjoy maybe a little bit of happiness in the middle of all of the not happiness that y'all have been dealing with, and looking forward to the funeral tomorrow. Maybe you'll have something to bolster your spirits.
Roderick eats. It just steams out of his mouth, but he can eat now.
Woo!
There you go.
Acid-y stuff.
There's just little trails of smoke, but he can technically do it. It goes somewhere.
So you all get to witness the fascinating process of your friend Roderick eating, which is something you have never seen before. You're not entirely sure if he needs to, but here he is doing it.
It's not actual eating. He's just imitating it. It starts to smell awful because he is like burning food as he's doing it.
Eogan and Kiel do their best to maintain like decorum, right? These are professionals, but Galag is a military man. That smells like shit. Perhaps less fragrant food for you.
Don't got a nose, so we'll workshop it later.
We're going to do a lot of that.
Pushes his plate respectively a few inches.
There'll be lots of experiments, but with Gaia and Max.
The rest of the dinner goes in the same manner, and eventually Galag and Eogan take their leave. They've been traveling, they're tired, and they will also have rooms here in the inn. But Kiel does not leave, and as the plates are cleared away, he bids you, if you could stay for just a moment. I will be leaving in the morning, but I wanted to have a conversation with the 3 of you before I go. As you have become aware recently, that there are many terrible and mysterious forces in this world. And there are limits of a sort to what myself and my peers can do about it. To put it simply, mortal affairs must be handled by mortals. We can influence things to a degree, but that is all. You have done incredibly well with little warning, little information, and next to no resources or support. It is well within the realm of reason to want some rest. However, I would be remiss if I did not extend the offer and request of doing more. I won't beg. You deserve peace. But so too do many others. Others who are vulnerable and unknowing of these threats. And perhaps by your actions, you could achieve that peace for them. The choice is yours entirely.
Yes.
He reaches into his coat as you say that, and he extends a hand and unfurling his fingers to reveal ornate silver medallions, each emblazoned with a running fox. He holds his hand out to all of you and says, "An agreement to answer the call when summoned. Nothing more." So players, I ask you for the last time in this campaign, what do you do?
Yeah, Roger said, yeah, sure. He's saying, I just gotta call to a summons. I just gotta show up and be like, all right.
I take a really deep breath and just, well, at least I'll have friends this time. And grab it.
There's no other choice. My friends are doing it, you know I'm going to.
Sure, Apollinaire would have if he was here as well. I think he's enjoying his time a little bit.
Hell no.
You're muted, DM.
So I was just saying thank you guys all. This all went a little bit quicker than anticipated. Let's just hear about some of the what happened to who things. Oh, you have a...
I gotta do a thing.
Yeah,
Also
let's
have
hear
one
it. What's
thing.
your thing?
Oh,
All right, let's do things. Yeah,
you go.
We'll do
you go
things.
first,
We'll do
guy.
things.
So, after Apollinaires' burial...
Oh, I need to do that before my thing before his. Sorry, I thought you were wanting to do it that night. So later that night, when people are doing the normal sleeping things, and it's like really late, and basically some of the times there was only going to be Roderick and Apollinaire up. He'll go down to where Apollinaire's body's at, and he'll just kind of talk to him a little bit, give him a rundown,
Well, Seraphina's got Maximilian now, and the guy's got a place that she'll be safe, so that's all good. But, I think this might be the last time we're gonna be able to chat, buddy.
And then he's gonna pull out some incense and light it with his finger. He's gonna cast Speak with Dave.
I thought that's where you were going.
I know that usually Speak with Dead only allows you to speak to the reflection of a person. But Apollinaire, from your place on the farm, relaxing with your wife and your many children that you now have, you hear a voice.
Alright, cuz, you doing good wherever you at?
I have to say that this is very strange. But yes, I am doing quite well. I hope all of you are too.
You're not just saying that because Guy Among Us or whatever his name was just making you say it, right?
I do not think so. If I am, then his idea of torment is not too bad.
What you up to?
I am making up for lost time.
You know, I was gonna try to get you off on a technicality. He couldn't technically have your soul because you already gave it to your wife. But, then something happened. So, we were able to find you after, if you're free.
Yes. Yes, I have.
And, well, I only got one more of these. I'm gonna be upset if, I'll reopen your inn while you're gone. Maybe more like a boarding house.
Of course not. It is good to know that its doors will open in some capacity again.
Right. Well, you keep on keeping on. Well, it's...
That's it.
All right. So, two things. Gaia, of course, will grab the box from the Seven Gestures if it is still there.
It is.
And I'm trying to think of a more eloquent way than gobble up the memories. She'll take every memory she can. And remember every second that she can. And after that, she'll go to Apollinaires' grave with an acorn. Cast Druidcraft to have it sprout and plant it on Apollinaires' grave and make it quite clear to whatever upper management there is around that tree is to survive. It is to bloom, blossom, and grow because a great man died there and is buried there. And if anything happens to that tree, they'll be held to pay.
Seraphina, any last actions before we roll credits?
God. I send a fox out to the country and tell Alikos to bring Max.
In the appropriate amount of time, you'll receive a response. I will be on my way immediately. I hope you are well.
I'm alive. And I wait for him and Max to come. I think this happened like earlier so that they could, because I want them to be able to also mourn during the what do you call it? The funeral for Apollinaire.
Not just Alikos and Max, but
Spiros.
Not
Danny?
not Spiros.
Hold
Uh,
on.
What's
Is
that?
this an NPC?
Yes.
I was like, is it Danny? Is it like it's who?
Roche
Jonathan.
Lepard will join the farmer who Max was staying with.
Okay.
And they will all be in attendance. Spiros, still having to stay away for political reasons, will send his regards and regrets.
Mm-hmm. So I sort of wait for Max and Alikos, telling them to meet us at the Rowdy Drake. Just waiting, like.
Max hasn't fully grasped why they're coming back on this time frame, but Alikos is wearing all black, and he looks like he's full of mixed emotions when he shows up. Lepard is primarily taking care of Max, seems well suited to the role. Alikos steps away when they get there, still covered in the dust of the road, and offers you an embrace.
I throw my arms around and just sob.
I was going to ask how you were holding up. Guess that's my answer.
That's a dumb question, and you know it.
He kind of leans in conspiratorially to you as you are still holding on to him, and he says, "Sometimes men can be done."
You don't have to tell me that. I give him a kiss on the cheek. And then I like unwrap my arms and walk over to Max and pick him up and give him a hug and go, "Hey, bud."
That was a long horse ride. That was a long horse ride.
Yeah.
I get to sleep in an actual bed tonight, though. Alikos promised, and
You
Mr.
do?
Lepard also promised.
Yes.
Not a cut.
Nope, not a
Mr.
cot.
Lepard is very nice, but his beds are made of straw. It's pokey.
Well, you'll never have to do that if you don't want to.
Good. He kind of like cuts his eyes sideways at Lepard.
So I get down on a knee and grab Max by the shoulders and go, "Max, I have something to ask you.
Okay.
Do you remember how I promised that I would take care of you forever?"
I remember.
So I heard from the Elven King himself that you get special permission to live with me forever
I get to be an elf.
if you want to.
He starts like kind of giving that sideways look and feeling at his fingertips.
No, it'll be like me, and I move my hair out of the way.
That's boring.
I know, kiddo.
The gravity of the situation clearly lost on his young self. Do we get to travel?
When you're all trained up, yes, we'll go all over.
But I still want to sleep in good beds.
You know, I heard Roderick is gonna take care of Apollinaires' place, rebuild it, so we'll always have a place to stay here in Griffin. And we'll always have a nice warm bed to stay in.
He does look a little sad for a moment. Says kind of quietly, Mr. Alikos told me that Apollinaire did not make it.
He did not, kiddo, but he is now with the people who he loved.
Did he die fighting the bad guys?
No. But that's okay. He was saved, and that's all we care about. And I'll explain it when you're a little older, okay?
Okay. Tomorrow's going to be hard.
Tomorrow's going to be miserable. But the next day will be less miserable. And after that will be less miserable. And that's okay.
If you say so.
And then I stand up to grab his hand, and then I look over at Alikos and go, I can take Max to the Elvenwood, but I can't bring you.
I didn't expect to be able to go, so it's hard to be mad to miss something I did not have in the first place.
Well,
I am hoping...
Wait, time out. You're just going to visit her, right?
Well, I could not hear what you said.
Kind of just butts into the middle.
Wait, you're just going to visit her, right?
Speaking on them going to the Elvenwood.
I don't know.
I can't leave until Aya fucks off and dies.
I don't know who that is, but
Bad lady, don't make a deal with her or whatever.
Alikos looks up at you and says, regardless of if you live or visit, I hope I will be seeing more of you. And he sounds a little concerned.
Wait, just to get things straight, you live in Griffin. This is your home now, right? You're not going back to the Elvenwood just to visit, like, the parents and stuff. It sounded so formal. I just thought they were giving you, like, passage.
I don't know, Roderick. I was given a boon, but that boon has obligations attached to it.
You a hero in Elvenwood?
I think so.
You got people who love you there?
I'm assuming so.
Got lots of cool kids for Max to hang out with there?
Yes, there are many children.
Bullshit. Good kids are what you call them.
Well, the Elvenwood is not that far from Griffin. How do you think about taking up residence in the fourth layer, Alikos, with a hellion of a child?
That's all I'm saying. We have big plans.
You guys continue your reunion and conversations, having some happy moments and some sad moments. Some moments that are both happy and sad as you remember time together, time with Apollinaire, and talk about all of the different possibilities in the future. But the important part is that you have those options. You have these choices to make because y'all made it out.
Yeah. That's it.
Before we close, we have a whole lot of loose ends, so let's tie those up. Antoine Delafosse remained as governor in Griffin, established a new council of governance that provided representation for all four layers and the Messalete, dubbing it the Outer Layer. Michelle Dupont was never seen again, although most believe her to have been killed by the very knights that she betrayed the rebellion to. Lai Fang begrudgingly took a position as the governor of the Third Layer, using his financial expertise to rebuild the Carnival to an even greater and more decadent center of culture and commerce than it was before. Sasha Alvray eventually was promoted to Guildmaster of the Bardic Guild, and did a brilliant job. Theobald Masanti returned to Altus, where he became an expert politician and spent his years lobbying for peace with Griffin and Karath, with mixed success. He did visit the Carnival frequently for what are most assuredly strictly political reasons. Hosan Asayesh retired due to injuries sustained in the fighting, although he welcomed his allies in Griffin to his estates in the capital city of Shalhai whenever they wished to visit. Valentine Pascal did eventually recover, and while no amount of prosthetics or magic could fix his broken body, he did still find joy in seeing his dreams of peace brought into reality. He lived his life on Lifang's estates, where his needs were properly cared for, and he was always near friends. Spiros Rokides continued as the greatest general that Karoth and the Thunderlances had ever known. But curiously, to his Karothi peers, he eventually divorced his noble wife and retired to a farmstead on the outskirts of Griffin with his son, and was often seen in the Carnival with a farmer named Roche Lapard. Alikos Rokides left the Karothi military after the conflict, and moved to Griffin, where he became a captain of the guard. Galag Finn was promoted within the Woodwraith Scouts, and was oft assigned to missions that sent him to human nations, where he used his expertise in human affairs to advance the interests of the Elfin King. The Franz Lin Institute was subject to a thorough investigation following the conflict, and it was discovered that Russo Franz had imprisoned his co-founder, Lin Quan, and had been falsely running the institute by himself under the thumb of the governors. Franz was sentenced to prison and then exile for his crimes, and his position was offered to Roderick Smith, who accepted. Together, they led the institute in creating equality and prosperity for all citizens of Griffin, regardless of layer and social strata, creating wondrous technological amenities, and distributing them for the communal good, each new invention titled in honor of one of the fallen from the Wall of Names. Seven Jesters Theater was turned into a memorial and museum for the conflict. Karoth became Griffin's greatest ally, ensuring that the Knights of the Circle were never able to make another move against the city. Zorgine rewrote their economic treaty, accepting that they must deal with Griffin as peers and in good faith. Altus withdrew, and while they experienced more internal conflict and many occasional spats with Karoth, they remained cloistered away for many, many years, their mistrust for the world only growing deeper. Goromandas did survive his encounter with Nicolette, albeit barely, and retreated back to the shadows to lick his wounds for many years. And that, friends, is the end of this tale of Blood and Silver.
Hell yeah. Bro, this sounds like a real cool place to come in like 500 years or so.
Hell yeah.
Or 500, give or take. I'm sure it's
That
really
tree
neat.
still better be there.
You know,
So-
Roderick.
And a big ass statue of all of us.
So, thank you guys. I have
Jesus Christ.
so much more I think that we could say and do, but then this campaign would run for another 200 or 300 sessions. And so I'm a little sad about wrapping it up, but I'm really, really grateful that I got to have this adventure with you guys. It did not end at all the way I anticipated. It was exciting, and I loved it. So thank you so much. Thank you to Alex, aka Jonesy, aka Mission Control, for putting it all together and making it happen. And for giving me this opportunity to run it. It was a brand new experience running a live campaign with a timetable, and I had to adapt and learn a whole lot of things I had not done before as a DM, despite having run a bunch of campaigns. And I look forward to seeing all of you in the next campaign, which I believe will be run by our friend Ian / Apollinaire, and to
That's
eventually maybe, if y'all will have me, run another campaign for you guys in the future. And it was really great having Kylie, who is a first timer here, at least as far as me playing with her. So thank you, Kylie, for joining us here at Hard Knock Dice for Blood and Silver and for future campaigns. And so for the last time, I'm going to say it for a while. I didn't do it at the beginning because I made a fucky wucky. But if someone could drop an exclamation point charity in chat, we are still raising money. Be as much of a hero as Apollinaire, as his badass wife, and as the rest of the field foxes, and donate a little bit of money to help kids. It's the objectively good thing to do. No downside. Before we get out of here, we will be rating the Legends of Evantris, and hopefully they will be having a not as intense and emotional campaign closure as we had here tonight. Hopefully a good come down, or at least something distracting. We'll see you guys on the other side on Saturday at the very least. Once we get that new campaign up and running, be sure to
Y'all
let
be
you know
ready.
Be ready? Oh, we are. We'll be
I
ready.
don't do happy endings.
We'll have updates on our Facebook
So
page
watch
whenever
out.
that new
No, we
campaign
don't
starts.
have a Facebook page.
Everyone have a great rest of your night. Thank you for coming by.
Have a good rest of your night. Thank you, Cody, for being an awesome
Yay! DM.